हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। हमारा अगला पैनल जिसका हमारा स्टेट ऑफ सिटीज़ पर ही है, तो मैं आमंत्रित करता हूँ डॉक्टर शेफाली दास, डिस्टिंग्विश्ड फेलो स्कॉच डेवलपमेंट फाउंडेशन और फॉर्मर डायरेक्टर जनरल नेशनल इंफॉर्मेटिक्स सेंटर। और इस पैनल में हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं मिस्टर ज़ौ अली खान, एडिशनल डायरेक्टर एराज लखनऊ मेडिकल कॉलेज एंड हॉस्पिटल, मिस नूपुर वर्मा म्यूनिसिपल कमिश्नर हैं नगर निगम रुड़की से, और डॉक्टर संजय कोलते हैं हमारे साथ में, चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑफिसर पूना स्मार्ट सिटी डेवलपमेंट कॉरपोरेशन से। तो अब मैं गुजारिश करता हूँ शेफाली जी से, सो काइंडली गो हेड। हमारे पास करीबन 35 मिनट 40 मिनट का वक्त होगा इस पैनल डिस्कशन के लिए। थोड़ा सा हम स्कॉच ऑर्डर ऑफ मेरिट में से ले लेंगे और थोड़ा खाने में से निकाल लेंगे, प्लीज।
Okay, but just a request, be a little even-handed, because we should not become 100% Hindi conference also, because a lot of people from other parts of the country who may not understand Hindi as much. So we will summarize in Hindi, but primarily the language of the conference is English.
Thank you, Samir, and thank you, Gursharan. It's a pleasure to be here. See, during this period, everybody is so overwhelmed with the COVID pandemic. We think, sleep, talk, only COVID. But we also need to go beyond. So when we are talking about cities and state of cities, let's think little ahead beyond this, because the way our experience shows, we have actually handled the situation quite well. So now we are in a position to think ahead and see what we can do better. National Commission on Population, National Population Commission has recently done a survey, and they have found that compared to 2011 census, Indian population is going to increase by 25% by 2036. And 7% of this increase will be urban cities are going to increase, and the population migration will happen. We expected 594 million people are going to live in the urban areas by 2036. And this is going to put a lot of load on the infrastructure, on the maintenance, on governance, on health, transport, everything in the cities. That means we have to start planning for how we handle that kind of uncontrolled urbanization in India right from now. And here, see, the foremost problem probably will be for water supply and sanitation. Also, the environment is going to be affected. Pollution, we have already seen in Delhi, the situation is very, very bad. I mean, we are happy when the newspaper or the television channels say that today Delhi's pollution is bad or poor. We are very happy then, because it's not severe. So in this situation, we have to really look towards our people who are in the planning, administration of the cities and governance per se, to do their bits. And we have seen the last 6 to 8 months that they have really risen to the task and done their job very, very well. We have seen a lot of work being carried out in this direction in the past few years, giving us the hope that though difficult, good planning and out-of-box thinking, major transformation can be achieved. However, these changes are seen in diverse sectors, depending on local requirement and vision of the implementer, which is very important, because we may have a rule book, we may have guidelines, but if the person who is in charge is efficient, proactive, and tries to think out of box, the situation is handled much better, and they achieve much more than like it's 2 plus 2 is not 4 but 5. So that kind of thing we have seen in the last few years, and it will be but then it is done in sporadic places. Some places here, some places there, health sector in one, another, transportation another. So what I feel that if we need to preserve this, we have to document all this and mention that what are the good things we have done and what are the hindrances we face, so that the next one who is going to implement will take care of those problems. And in one place, if we can document everything, everything, then people can look when they're trying to do something in the area, they can see which are the things can in a particular area. Of course, it doesn't mean that they will not think themselves. They'll also come out more with more ideas, which can also be adding to the documentation. Digital India has played a very significant role in bringing governance to the doorsteps of citizens. One doesn't have to visit various offices now to apply for a license for a cinema hall, say, to register a company, or even to pay taxes. We can all do this from the safety of our or comfort of our homes. Or if we don't have, we can go to a common service center. We can go to the ubiquitous post office, which is almost everywhere there. And with the introduction of mobile governance, it becomes even simpler because people now can use their mobile phone and do a lot of things. They can see their examination results, they can get the certificate, they can access many government services. Moreover, we also do have a DigiLocker where these information or the certificates which have been accessed through mobile can be deposited and saved for later retrieval whenever the need arises. So with the advent of these technologies like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and blockchain, many more things can also be done. And we have been seeing the use of IoTs in many areas, especially during traffic management and even for health management. A lot of things are happening. So, but we have to think more. This is just the beginning. We are trying to use them, but we can do much more. Water supply and sanitation will be the most affected due to rapid urbanization. Then increased demand will outgrow the availability of potable water. Therefore, it is utmost importance to design more efficient water supply systems with minimum leakage, because we see a lot of leakages happen, and unless we plug them, no resources is going to be sufficient because our demands are going to increase many-fold.
I appreciate your inputs into the panel, but given the timelines,
short time. Okay, fine. I'll just have 3 more points. Just 3 more points, 3 sentences. Okay.
Those 3 4 questions, so that individually, one by one, not all the questions,
Okay.
one question can be picked up by the panelist and be answered.
Okay, so now we have got municipal commissioners. So I just want to put one question to them that normally we follow top-down approach for implementing any project, but Gram Sabhas, they have shown the way that people can participate and come up with good projects. Can we do the same thing for the municipalities also in the urban areas? With this, I now invite the panelists. The first speaker is going to be Mr. Joe Ali Khan, and Mr. Joe Ali Khan is a additional director with ERAS Lucknow Medical College and Hospital, and this ERAS Lucknow Medical College and Hospital was established in 2001 under the aegis of ERA Educational Trust with a vision to establish a center of excellence in the field of medical education, healthcare and research. So now I invite Mr. Khan to give his input and share with us.
Everyone, all panelists and experts, as well as all audience members. As well, all of the speakers so far have highlighted, COVID has been taking the major part of our minds and of our all our lives have revolved around that for months now. So I'll start off with that the things that we've learned from that is that there needs to be a preparedness for the next outbreak, which can be outside of India. It can start outside of India or in another city and come to our city, or it may very well be in our own city, and then we might need to control that outbreak right there in a single city. So how do we achieve that? That should be the goal. And the main challenge that we see before us is that there's a shortage of doctors globally, not just in India, but even globally. So that makes it harder when there is an infectious disease, because we need the doctors to work in shifts and they need to be isolated, and there has to be an activity quarantine facility. So there are a lot of logistical challenges which further you know exacerbates the shortage of doctors Wali problem. And so the only way to overcome that would be through the use of technology and through of course the concept of smart city as proposed by our government is instrumental in that, towards towards Digital India and all of our initiatives towards IT, and using those same principles, we developed our own remote monitoring dashboard, which helped our doctors to monitor patients remotely. Of course, there were active duty patients, but active duty doctors were there for all the patients inside the wards, but a team of doctors would also monitor the patient remotely and would keep giving their inputs, because the most senior of the doctors were, you know, discouraged from going inside the ward because of their age, since age is also a comorbidity in COVID. So all of those most experienced senior most doctors, as well as a team of nurses and technicians, would be on standby in our control room, looking at the remote monitoring dashboard to see the conditions of all of the patients and advise inside the ward on that basis. One more thing that we did, the way we use technology, was the use of telemedicine. So we adapted telemedicine, and we in fact have developed our own app in collaboration with a tech company by the name of DigiDoctor. And all the patients that had pending follow-ups because of the lockdown and Janta curfew, so all of those patients were able to at least get the facility of telemedicine, and we were able to screen those patients that required face-to-face or in-person consultation or healthcare. So we were able to refer them to another center. Of course, we were a dedicated COVID facility, and because of all of these innovations and some other modalities, the way we utilize our infrastructure and divided that. So one more point comes to my mind is that the infrastructure, the building should be such that you can have modules in it. You can divide the wards into different sections, or you can divide the floors into different blocks. So all of that helps in dedicating a space to a particular infectious disease in case the requirement again comes. So with the help of all of these innovations, and of course there was also a lot of emphasis on research. So we are amongst the top 5% of medical institutes in terms of research, as per public, as per the article published by the Lancet. So because of that, we also were continuously getting ourselves updated, and retraining was being done of the entire medical staff for the best protocol and what works, what doesn't. So research and development is quite important. And then for the training of healthcare workers during such pandemics, or any outbreak at all, anything that new comes, any new challenge, it's important to train those healthcare workers, frontline workers, and time is of the essence. Because uh, it's not possible to train and retrain again and again the same person a number of times. We can have virtual worlds or virtual patients virtual scenarios on which on which the healthcare workers can be trained, or they can those scenarios can help revise the techniques, the SOPs that need to be followed. So we have been making educational video games for our medical students at ERA. We utilized the same technique, and we made a PPE, personal protective equipment donning and doffing mobile game, in which students or even medical healthcare workers, they can practice their knowledge of PPE. What sequence should they wear, whether they should wear the protective goggles first, or they should wear the mask first, or they should wear the shoe cover or the entire gown. So what is the sequence of it? What is the logic behind it? That game explains that. Something that another healthcare worker would have taken out time to explain to the people, to the trainees, that is being done virtually now. And of course, any queries that are left are explained by an expert. So all of this, there are all of these ways, the use of telemedicine, the use of remote monitoring dashboard, and digital training tools in the form of animation and video games has helped us train our staff in a better manner. We've also developed some mannequins that are connected to the game. So patients, the mannequins serve as patients on which the healthcare workers are able to perform hands-on procedures, and they get scored inside the game for that procedure. So the use of all of these things, and because you're also able to assess digitally the skills, there's no, I mean, there's no scope of, people not.
Thank you very much, Zohar Ali Khanji. Shefali ji, with your kind permission, I just want to make a small intervention. You know, some of the things that have got unnoticed in the state of Uttar Pradesh is the fantastic ramping up of testing that the state government was able to do. You know, it's not supposed to be a state that performs well. And the second thing, the private health system, such as ERA's Medical College, the outstanding job that they have been able to do and support the government, I think is very, very remarkable. You may want to move on to your next panelist, but may I request that do a very stricter time control, because otherwise we'll...
Oh, I thought Gursharan does that.
No, the moderator is supposed to do that.
I would have done it.
I would just
Because he's good at that.
The naughtiest girl is the monitor of the class.
I would.
I think let's leave that to Gursharan. He is a stricter monitor.
Mr.
So let's do that part. So, well, thanks.
Mr. Khan,
Now I invite Ms. Nupur Verma.
I'd just like to conclude with our COVID recovery and death rate. So our recovery rate is around 96% at the moment. No, it's at around 94%, which is almost as good as the global recovery rate of 96%. Even though we're an L3 COVID facility, and of course the global recovery rate would include the L3, L2, L1, as well as the home isolation cases, which which recover more than 99% recover in that. So despite that, we're almost near the global recovery rate. So as an L3 COVID facility, that is a huge achievement, and I've enlisted the reasons for that. So hospitals and medical institute need to prepare in such a manner that they're able to impart quick training with minimum use of their manpower for that purpose, and also the use of digital tools for monitoring of the patients, proactive monitoring, and enhanced research on the latest protocols and latest treatment modalities. And I'm sure India will lead the way. And our one figure that I forgot to mention was that ICU death rate is around 84%, which compared to the world is sorry, not the death, sorry, the recovery rate, of ICU is around 84%, and which compared to the global average ICU death rate is about 75%. So even in those terms, we're doing remarkably well, and we'd like to help other hospitals. In fact, the district administration recently, the DM nominated us and SGPGI to conduct training for all the other hospitals in Lucknow.
We have a whole lot of districts and cities.
I understand. That was it from my side.
We would like to
Thank you.
elaborate and try and understand the value that you bring to the table as not only the hospital as well as a specialized college, and your contributions have been duly acknowledged. You have played a key role, and particularly the COVID, what you call the L3 or whatever that facility, you have had minimal cases of fatality in the hospital, while the recovery rate has been as high as almost 99%. So, excellent work done there. So I'm sure let's give an opportunity to others as to, how is it that
Yes.
they have fared, being a city, coming from two different perspectives. One is the next is Roorkee. So Shefali ji, if
Yeah, let me invite Ms. Nupur Verma, Municipal Commissioner, Nagar Nigam Roorkee. Basically, she is an academic at heart who taught mathematics for 12 years, and before joining IAS, and she was SDM in Tehri, followed by DM in Hardwar, and now at Roorkee as its Municipal Commissioner. So, Dr. Verma.
बोलेगा। आप सभी को मेरा सादर प्रणाम। आवाज आ रही है? पता कर मेरी आवाज आप तक पहुंच पा रही है?
हाँ, अभी आ रही है।
प्रणाम।
आप बढ़िए।
तो जिस टॉपिक जैसे हमें ये है कि हमें कैसे क्रेडिबिलिटी अपनी बनानी है, मैं उसी वाइज शुरू करती हूँ जो हमें दिए यहाँ पर। तो ये होता है कि हमें कई बार क्रेडिबिलिटी के लिए तो जनता के बीच तो जाना ही होता है एक एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर को, और उसकी डिमांड्स को भी वो, क्योंकि हर डिमांड हमसे रख सकते हैं, लेकिन उसकी कितनी लॉजिकल है डिमांड या कितनी लीगल है, उसको देखते हुए हम आगे बढ़ते हैं। इसके लिए हमने अपने लिए जो शुरू में आते ही यहाँ पे किया था कि जनता दरबार हमने शुरू किया। पर मंथ हम 2 बार, मतलब 15 डेज में हम जनता दरबार चलाया जाता है, जिसमें हमारे निगम की या बाहर से भी जनता आती है जो अपनी समस्याओं को यहाँ से हमसे शेयर करती है। उसके बाद हम उसमें जैसे महीने में 2 बार, हर वेडनेसडे को मैंने किया हुआ है ये। तो वेडनेसडे को पहले हमने उनकी समस्याएं सुनी, फिर मेरा पूरा स्टाफ भी वहां पर रहता है, तो समस्याओं को हम उनके सामने रख के कि कैसे हम उसको कर पाएंगे। 1 हफ्ते के भीतर हम टाइम देके उसको कोशिश करते हैं कि जल्दी से जल्दी उनको रिमूव करें। इसके लिए हमने कंट्रोल रूम भी सेटअप किया है यहाँ पर। तो सिटीजन सेंट्रिक होनी ही चाहिए, जो भी योजनाएं हमारी हैं सिटीजन को हम ध्यान में रखते हुए उसी को अप्लाई करने की कोशिश करते हैं। इसके लिए कंट्रोल रूम हमने बनाया जो 24/7 हमारा यहाँ वर्क करता है। इसमें हमने एक ग्रुप भी, व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप बनाया हुआ है, जिसमें कि अपनी सभी अपनी जो भी कंप्लेंट्स हैं, डिमांड्स हैं, उसको टेलीफोनिकली या वीडियो के माध्यम से या फिर एक रिटन फॉर्म में भी आप शेयर करते हैं। तो उसमें हमारे जो सेक्शन के हेड्स हैं, क्योंकि नगर निगम में हमारे 5 बड़े सेक्शन हैं जो पब्लिक सर्विसेज से जुड़े हुए हैं, तो सारे सेक्शंस के हेड उसमें हैं। उसके बाद वो उसको रिजॉल्व कर, उस कंप्लेन को रिजॉल्व कर उसका उसी में रिस्पॉन्स भी करते हैं। इसका हमने बहुत अच्छा यूज हमने कोविड में भी किया अपने कंट्रोल रूम का, 24/7 जो चला हुआ है। और इससे फिर भी कुछ जो लोग छूट जाते हैं, जो इस तरह इसको यूज नहीं कर पाते कंट्रोल रूम की फैसिलिटी को, वो डायरेक्टली अप्रोच करते हैं, हमारे ऑफिस में भी करते हैं, जनता दरबार में भी करते हैं। तो एक तो हमें क्रेडिबिलिटी बनाए रखने के लिए ये जरूरी होता है कि हम अपने वर्ड्स पर, जो हमने वर्ड्स दिए हैं उनको, अपने जो बोल रहे हैं उसको हम पूरा करने की कोशिश करते हैं हर तरह से। दूसरा एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी होती है कि कई बार हमें कई ऐसे निर्णय लेने पड़ते हैं जो पब्लिक को लगता है डायरेक्टली कि उसके हित में नहीं होंगे, जैसे, लेकिन हमारे लिए हमारे रिसोर्सेज भी मेंटेन करना जरूरी होता है। जैसे हम टैक्स इंक्रीज करते हैं, कंसेप्ट है कि हर 2 साल में हमें टैक्स जो है अपना जो हाउस टैक्स है, कमर्शियल टैक्स है, उसको इंक्रीज करना है। तो अभी हमने 15% उसको इंक्रीज किया, तो पब्लिक से ऐसा आने लगता है कि हम पर टैक्स बढ़ा दिया गया है। तो उसके लिए हमें कई सारे सोशल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हमसे जुड़े हुए हैं, व्यापार मंडल हैं, पब्लिक के बीच से ही हमारे जनप्रतिनिधि हैं, वार्ड मेंबर्स हैं और हमारे मेयर साहब हैं। उसके अलावा एनजीओज हैं, इन सबकी हेल्प से हम उनको समझाते हैं कि ये इसीलिए है कि आपको ज्यादा फैसिलिटेट हम कर सकें। और दूसरे एक टाइम बाउंड कर दिया जाता है कि 15 डेज में आप टैक्स देंगे तो हम इतना रिबेट आपको देंगे 5% 10%। तो उससे हमें काफी हेल्प मिल जाती है। तो एक्सेप्ट हमारे जो एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी है वो भी बढ़ती है, एक्सेप्ट हमारे जो निर्णय ले रहे हैं उसको भी एक्सेप्ट कर लेती है पब्लिक। अभी जैसे कोविड के टाइम पे ये था कि लॉकडाउन है तो हमें बाहर नहीं निकलने देना है पब्लिक को, तो उसके लिए हमें फैसिलिटी भी बढ़ाने की हमने कोशिश करी कि हम उनको ऐसे फैसिलिटेट करें कि वो बाहर ना आए, ज्यादा कम से कम इंटरेक्शन हो उनका आपस में। इसके लिए हमने तो अपने कंट्रोल रूम नंबर का भी जो था उसको हेल्पलाइन नंबर की तरह यूज किया, और हमने एक ऐप डेवलप किया अन्नपूर्णा नाम से, जिसमें हमने ग्रोसरी सिस्टम्स, वेजिटेबल्स, मिल्क, इस सब का होम डिलीवरी कराया। हमारे जितने भी यहाँ पे वेंडर्स थे, शॉपकीपर्स थे, उन सबके नंबर ऑनलाइन किए वार्ड वाइज, ताकि वो वहीं पे होम डिलीवरी अपने अपने वार्ड में करा सके। और जिसको भी सामान की जरूरत होती थी वो उस पर ऑर्डर कर सकता था डायरेक्टली टेलीफोनिकली उनसे बात करके। तो इससे बहुत हेल्प मिली हमें यहाँ पे पब्लिक को कंट्रोल करने में बाहर आने से। और ऐसे ही हमने मेडिसिन के लिए टेलीमेडिसिन, जैसे कि बताया, मेडिसिन के लिए भी एक हेल्पलाइन नंबर जारी किया था कोविड के टाइम पे मेनली, ताकि और जितने भी हमारे स्पेशलिस्ट हैं रुड़की नगर निगम एरिया में, उन सबको उससे ऐड किया। और पब्लिक उससे उनसे कभी भी उसका टाइम रखा हमने कि इस टाइम से इस टाइम के बीच में उनसे कंसल्ट कर सकते हैं। कंसल्ट करने के बाद में फिर जो मेडिसिन उनके द्वारा कुछ इस तरह के मरीज थे जो जिनकी समस्या कंसल्टेंसी से दूर हो जाती थी, वीडियो के माध्यम से वो कर सकते थे, अपनी वीडियो कॉलिंग के माध्यम से भी कंसल्टेंसी उन्होंने दी। तो जो मरीज ऐसे थे जिनको दवाई की जरूरत पड़ती थी, तो हमने उसके लिए एक संजीवनी ऐप डेवलप किया, इसी तरह से, इसी तर्ज पे जैसे अन्नपूर्णा ऐप बनाया था, ऐसे ही संजीवनी ऐप फॉर द होम डिलीवरी ऑफ मेडिसिन। और ये मेडिकल स्टोर्स के नंबर्स उसमें हमने दिए उसमें कि मेडिकल स्टोर से आप इस तरह से कर सकते हैं। और फैसिलिटी ये भी दी कि हम नगर निगम उसमें उनकी हेल्प करें। इसी तरह, क्योंकि वैसे तो हमने बहुत सारी चीजें कोविड के टाइम पे की, लेकिन एक जो मेन काम था जो निगम का, मतलब सैनिटाइजेशन, और इसके अलावा भी बहुत काम हमारे जो हमने किए कि पब्लिक को उसमें दिक्कत हुई फूड के लिए, खाना कैसे उनको प्रोवाइड कराया जाए। कुछ डेली वेजेस वाले पर्सन थे, उनको बहुत प्रॉब्लम आने लगी जो डेली वेजेस पे डिपेंड थे। और दूसरे उन लोगों को भी जो कि बाहर रहते थे। रुड़की जैसे कि एक एजुकेशन हब है, और यहाँ पर बहुत सारे बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं, और जो सर्विस क्लास लोग भी बहुत ज्यादा हैं। वो इस तरह, मतलब वो सिंगल यहाँ पर लोग रहते हैं, तो उनको फूड की प्रॉब्लम आई। मतलब 3 तरह के लोग थे जिनके पास राशन कार्ड नहीं था, राशन कार्ड कुछ के पास था, और कुछ ऐसे थे कि जो पूरी तरह से संपन्न थे, लेकिन वो क्योंकि अकेले रहते थे या वृद्धावस्था के कारण उनको उनकी मेड नहीं आ पा रही थी कोविड के टाइम पर, या अलाउड नहीं था ऐसा। तो हाँ, तो वो ज्यादा सफर कर रहे थे। तो उनके लिए हमने जो अपना हेल्पलाइन नंबर था वो पूरा प्रचार प्रसार किया उसका, और वो हमें मतलब दिन में लगभग 1000 जो पैकेट्स थे खाने के, वो हमने उनको डिलीवर कराते थे अपने नगर निगम के वाहन से ही। और इसमें हमने अपने सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप का यूज किया, जो हमारे एनयूएलएम के सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स बने हुए हैं। तो इसका बहुत अच्छा रिस्पांस भी आया, और ये बहुत सारे जो सोशल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैं, एनजीओज और इंडिविजुअल लोगों ने हमसे कांटेक्ट किया कि हम ऐसा खाना प्रोवाइड कराना चाहते हैं। तो मतलब एक नगर निगम एक फैसिलिटेटर बन गया था। एक तो हमें प्रोवाइड जो करा रहे थे फूड को, उसको हमें कैसे डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया हमने जो जरूरतमंद लोग थे उनको। और इसके लिए
आपका योगदान भी काफी उभर करके सामने आ रहा है, काफी सराहनीय काम किया आपने भी। तो हम ये चाहते हैं कि आई मीन आई कैन सी द लेवल ऑफ एक्साइटमेंट, आपको कितनी खुशी हो रही है अपने बताते हुए कि आपने किस तरीके से कोविड को हैंडल किया। यू नो, इट्स सच अ लर्निंग फॉर एवरीवन who are participating here, that you know, from all across the country, there's a huge amount of learning that कि अलग-अलग क्षेत्रों में किस तरीके से उसको हमने रिस्पॉन्ड किया, क्योंकि हमारी समस्याएं अलग-अलग तरीके की हैं और अलग-अलग जगह पे अलग आयाम दिखाती हैं। लेकिन हमारा एक चीज बहुत बढ़िया इसमें रहा कि हमने सबने मिल करके कोविड को हराने की ठान ली है।
उस टाइम पर
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका ये सब बातें हमसे करने के लिए। हम आपके पास दोबारा आएंगे अभी। तो शेफाली जी, वी कैन मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट स्पीकर इन द मीन।
Now I invite Dr. Sanjay Kolte, who is a 2010 batch IS officer. Before Pune, he was CEO at Osmanabad Jila Parishad. Dr. Kolte is also CEO of the Slum Rehabilitation Authority in Pune. So, Dr. Kolte.
Good morning, everyone. And, I feel honored to participate in the Scotch Summit and participate in this discussion. In the COVID background, Pune Smart City had done a major role in terms of monitoring of the COVID pandemic situation in the Pune city. The Command and Control Center of Pune Smart City had been converted into the COVID Control Center, and the COVID dashboard had been created not only for Pune city but all the 5 districts of the Pune Revenue Division were being controlled on the video wall of the Integrated Command and Control Center. The center was manned by health officials 24/7, the police officials, and also from the administration. Uh, all the aspects of COVID management, like tracing, tracking of patients, creation of containment zones, monitoring of containment zones, regulating the boundaries of the containment zone, then citizen awareness, the use of smart elements, which were around more than 700 IoT devices were established in the city in the form of smart elements, which were used for disseminating the information regarding the precautions to be taken in the COVID pandemic, the real-time situation at the 88 health institution of the Pune Municipal Corporation were being monitored from this center. And the center was very instrumental in overall COVID control and administration during this period. Besides this, use of technology like telemedicine was also done, and Arogyadhir app was launched, which was used for a teleconsultation with the home quarantine patients who were advised by the voluntary service of private doctors, and also the government doctors who were giving their advice regarding COVID treatment and monitoring their status of the patients through telemedicine app. eSci Clinic was also initiated by Pune Smart City during this period because it was during the pandemic, the psychological health of the citizens was also a major issue, and looking at the importance of this, psychological consultation was also provided whoever needed it from the experts, psychologists and psychiatrists on this matter. Later on, for the treatment aspect, again, the city administration had set up a facility for more than 2,100 beds, which included oxygen beds and the ICU beds also. 2 jumbo clinics were set up in Pune city, and three jumbo clinics were set up in Pune city. One was set up in Pimpri Chinchwad, which is a sister city of this. And we are happy to mention that in Pune city, at the College of Engineering Pune premises, the jumbo COVID center was established in the span of 15 to 16 days. It was during this such a on a war footing, the clinic was established, and immediately 400 beds in the first step after within 15 days were made available for the COVID patients. So all these efforts, concerted efforts, were very instrumental in mitigating the disaster of COVID pandemic. In terms of city or the health services, we must, it is worth mentioning that incorporation of technology, maximum technology, artificial intelligence, and use of IoT devices for the purpose of advancement, give and take of knowledge, treatment protocols is very important. We need to, whatever has been done is commendable. Even then, we need to be more prepared for any such future pandemics or eventualities. So on the technology front, we need to again improvise whatever is possible in this, so that we are more equipped to face the challenges. I have worked in the rural sector also. Recently, I was a CEO of Jilla Parishad. There also, I would mention that from the rural scenario, again, strengthening and upgradation of the health infrastructure in the rural areas in the form of primary health centers and the primary health sub-centers is very important. The time has arrived to have specialized treatment at the even PSC level, which is mostly at the taluka level or even below that. So in a pandemic like COVID, many emergencies arise in the remote places when oxygen treatments or the oxygen facilities are not available. So a thought is required for now going down towards say smaller towns or smaller village, even villages also, where we need to strengthen those facilities with oxygen facilities, oxygen cylinders, oxygen concentrators, like things, so they can help in the giving the immediate help to the rural masses. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. I think now we should be inviting questions and suggestions from the forum. Are we getting some questions on chat also?
Not yet. There are no questions posted yet. If there is any question, kindly put it on the Q&A tab. And, based on that, we will also make you live. You can interact with the panelists or the speaker. So if there is any question, kindly go ahead. Otherwise, so Shefali ji, you can summarize the discussion and then we can move on to the next.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you have a question, why don't you ask?
No, I think I must thank all the speakers. They have really, I mean, looking at them making the comments, it was showing how passionately they were involved in the entire exercise. Whatever they are doing, they love it. And it is showing in their work. The results are really showing. Mr. Khan has actually hit the nerve by saying we do have, which everybody of course knows, but still we do have shortage of doctors in India, and that's a very, very sad situation. You are doing good. Lot of medical institutions are coming up, and you have gotten good idea because the senior doctors, because we all know that 50 plus people are having more chances of getting affected by COVID, and then it is a little more difficult to restore. So you have done good by segregating them in a control room where they are not directly interacting with the patients, but giving their guidance. So that's a very good idea indeed. It's quite nice, and all other work you have done is very helpful for the general population. And I appreciated Ms. Verma's Janta Darbar concept. I mean, of course, many people do that, but you are diligently following it through WhatsApp groups and making things come and happen. It's a good indicator. About Mr. Kolte, your command center, converting the smart city command center into a COVID center was a very good idea, because you could immediately start work instead of waiting for infrastructure to be started. So that was a very quick thinking on your part, and it did give dividends. So all of you have really done good work. We appreciate it. And if there are no other questions, Kushan, we can go for the...
From my side, if you may allow.
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
In fact, what was talked about by Mr. Khan, very relevant there, because what I feel that, as far as the medical preparedness from the fraternity is concerned, we've always been ready. It's not that, we've been sitting down and waiting for a pandemic like that to outbreak, but, something unprecedented like this, which hit us on the face. It did expose to a great extent the weaknesses in our system, particularly what Mr. Khan talked about, that a lack of medical facilities and a lack of doctors. I mean, the shortage of doctors. So, in last 6 or 8 months, we have lived up to the occasion and tried to battle with this. And so far, the response from the entire medical fraternity has been excellent. But yes, in the meanwhile, the new technologies, particularly telemedicine, marrying it with the Digital India and the National Digital Health Mission, the importance cannot be stressed anymore. So moving forward, what appears is that, what even Karunaji was talking about, which is the triple disease burden. So research and innovation is going to throw up, not mixed, but totally different results as we move forward. And I'm sure, with all the hands coming together, particularly even from what Nupurji said, the Roorkee, you also mentioned the Janata Darbar. But the point is how to get people to participate in the process. So citizen participation in decision making becomes extremely important, which is what I think Roorkee has done very well by involving which she calls Pratinidhi and community-based organizations, so that, the acceptability at the ground really improves, and people start believing in the system. The third thing, which came out again, shining through what Dr. Sanjay talked about, that if it was not for the existing implementation of technology tools per se, the response would have suffered to a great extent. So this is something which helped Pune Smart City extend its hand, with the corporation as well as the district administration to reach a certain level, wherein not only at the city level, but percolating down to the taluka and the bottommost layer, it is going to give rich dividends as we move on. So great experience, it was really fantastic to listen to your stories, and thank you very much to our moderator, Dr. Dash, for bringing all these views together. So thank you all once again, and we are going to